Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive misconception that honestly holds so many of us back. We're going to completely shatter the myth of innate creativity. You know, that idea that you're either born with it or you're not? Yeah, we're throwing that out. Instead, I'm going to show you a highly practical, everyday system that you can use right now to generate truly innovative ideas. So if you've ever felt stuck or caught yourself thinking, I'm just not the creative type, well, you're absolutely in the right place. So, do you actually need some sort of magical talent to be creative? It's a super relatable question, right? I mean, most of us look at these world-changing inventors, legendary writers, or brilliant artists, and we just assume they were born with some mysterious spark. Like they won the genetic lottery for creativity, and the rest of us just totally missed out. But what if I told you that is completely 100% false? What if creativity isn't this elusive gift at all, but actually just a specific, repeatable process? See, we're constantly fed this myth that creativity requires a magical spark. But the truth is actually much simpler and honestly way more empowering. Great ideas really just come from one process, combining old ideas in new ways. It's not about conjuring something brilliant out of absolute thin air. It's really just about taking things that already exist out in the world and finding a fresh way to fuse them together. And look, we've got the historical proof to back this up. Let's look at Steve Jobs. He's literally hailed as a modern creative genius, right? But think about it. He didn't actually invent the touchscreen. He didn't invent the mobile phone. And he definitely didn't invent the internet. So what did he do? He brilliantly combined those pre-existing old ideas into one cohesive, brand new device, the iPhone. It wasn't raw from-scratch invention. It was a total masterclass in combination. And this isn't just a tech thing. It goes way back. Take William Shakespeare, widely considered the absolute greatest playwright in the English language. But here's the thing. His creative genius didn't come from writing completely original stories from a blank page. No, he actually borrowed existing plots from older stories. He took that old material, remixed it, injected his incredible dialogue, and just made it better. He combined what was already there with his own unique perspective. Okay, and this applies to hard science too. Even Albert Einstein. When we picture the ultimate genius, we usually picture Einstein. But his world-changing theory of relativity was built directly on top of existing physics theories. His big breakthrough wasn't just pulled out of the ether. He took the established knowledge of his day, looked at it from a slightly different angle, and combined it to unlock something profoundly new. So, if these absolute titans of history were actually just remixing old ideas, how do we do that? Well, it boils down to a core mechanism called idea stacking. Simply put, idea stacking is the systematic process of relentlessly absorbing knowledge, meticulously logging it, and then actively finding unexpected connections to create something entirely new. It's a system, guys, not a talent. And the beautiful thing about a system is that literally anyone can follow it. It breaks down into a really simple, highly actionable three-step framework. Step 1, absorb and create. Step 2, log everything. And step 3, find unexpected connections. Let's dive right into these because this is where the real practical magic happens. All right, step 1, absorb and create. Obviously, to combine old ideas, you first need a lot of raw material floating around in your head. You've got to relentlessly read, watch, and listen to fill your brain with diverse knowledge. But, and this is a massive warning directly from our source material, you cannot just passively consume. There's literally no point in absorbing mindlessly. You have to start creating simultaneously, even if it's super basic. Creating forces your brain to actively process and organize all that raw material you're taking in. Which brings us right to step 2, log everything. See, you're absorbing, you're creating, but you absolutely have to capture those thoughts. You need to write down every single interesting idea you come across. And honestly, it doesn't matter if they seem totally unrelated at the time. In fact, your log should be wonderfully chaotic. Maybe it's a clever marketing concept you saw on a billboard, or a fascinating science fact from a documentary, or just some weird personal insight you had while drinking your morning coffee. Document the whole shebang. Gathering this vast, wildly diverse raw material is exactly what makes connecting the dots possible later. You're basically building your own private library of puzzle pieces. And that leads perfectly into step 3, unexpected connections. Now, this is where true innovation actually happens. It's an active process of interrogating that log you built. You look at your totally unrelated puzzle pieces and ask yourself, okay, how can I mix these? Take the story of James Dyson. He looked at the existing concept of a standard vacuum cleaner. Then he looked at something completely unrelated, the mechanics of massive industrial cyclones used in sawmills to clear sawdust from the air. By actively asking how to mix those two seemingly opposite ideas, boom, he created the world's first bagless vacuum cleaner. He stacked the ideas. As the source material puts it beautifully, creativity isn't about originality, it's about recombination. That completely shifts the paradigm, doesn't it? It just takes all the pressure off. You don't have to invent the universe from scratch today. You just have to find two interesting things and introduce them to each other. Actually, let's try a real-time thought experiment together using this exact system. Think about this. Where do most podcasts get recorded? Just picture the typical standard setting for a podcast recording in your mind right now. Almost universally, podcasts are recorded inside a room, right? Usually a studio with some soundproofing. Okay, now think about a totally different media format. Vlogs. Where do people mostly make those? Outside, touching grass, exploring the world. So here we have two established, totally separate ideas. Let's recombine them. We stack the ideas to find the unseen combo. What if you recorded a podcast outside, in a forest, or maybe in the middle of ancient ruins? Suddenly, just by mixing those two very common existing concepts, you've created a completely fresh, original idea for a show format. It really is that simple, and it works flawlessly. So to sum it all up, system over special talent. You do not need to sit around waiting for lightning to strike. You don't need to wish you were born with a different, more artistic brain. Instead of sitting there passively waiting for some magical inspiration that honestly may never come, you can empower yourself right now. Using a reliable, methodical system consistently delivers results. Idea stacking puts you entirely in control of your own creative output. No special talent required, just a solid method. So knowing that creativity is really just recombination, what two totally unrelated ideas will you combine today to build your very first idea stack? Don't wait for inspiration. Start absorbing, start logging, and start connecting those dots. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy creating.